What does she look like?
Scary. She's not gonna like you.
So we are talking about the movie Interior. The man behind this is Zachary Beckler, who wrote, directed and stars in this movie, The Zachary Beckler Show. So the story here initially seems like a somewhat standard found footage haunting house movie. And to a certain extent that is true. And you get a lot of that in this movie. But it does try and do something a little bit different with the genre. Which we'll come on to. Don't worry, no spoilers, but we will kind of discuss it in a roundabout sort of way. Anyway, the story focuses on one guy as he is asked by an ex-girlfriend to set up this kind of like video set up in her house because they think the house is haunted. Now, interestingly enough here, the guy isn't like a paranormal investigator. He just knows a lot about video and video equipment. So it's a slightly different setup than maybe you've seen before. He's not a ghost hunter. He doesn't really know about that kind of stuff to any great length, at least. And so it's a different style of kind of like investigation than maybe. It's more of a technical one, which I thought was quite fun. And essentially, it's this guy alone for one night in this house as these kind of spooky stuff starts to happen. And obviously the tension increases and we see more and more strange phenomena about the house and what is actually going on. Well, let's discuss. So I've got to say, I kind of like the initial setup here. It gets straight into it. There's no messing around with loads of like character development in this film. We do get a bit of that throughout the film, but it's done in a way that I feel was just naturally occurring. So we kind of get to know the characters as the story progresses without having like the traditional half an hour of kind of bullshit at the beginning where we have the kind of the, I'll just video myself for no reason and all that. So that was quite good. I kind of quite like that. And I've got to say, this film does a masterful job of creating some truly scary moments. It really does. I mean, it's done very well with not flashy effects, but there are some great there are some jump scares in here, but they're done quite well, I've got to say. And when we do see stuff, it's pretty horrifying, I've got to say. And they do the reveal about this kind of like entity is fantastic. What it actually looks like and all that. Very, very good. So that was all good. And I kind of quite liked our main protagonist as well. He seems fallible, but kind of a likeable kind of hero. What's negative about this film? I've got to say, as the film gets closer to the end, it becomes very self-indulgent. And it kind of goes in a different direction that, on one hand, it's commendable for trying something different and maybe kind of trying to take it in a different direction, but I feel it's very kind of, I don't know, it just comes across as very kind of arty and being very experimental. And for a casual moviegoer, I do not think it works. Now, if there's a major kind of foreshadowing section at the beginning of this, well, sort of towards the beginning of this film involving a cat, and it's so on the nose, like, let's watch this video clip for an extended period of time. Remember this, folks, because this is going to be important later. But I still feel, even if you're paying attention in that bit, it's going to be a bit of hard for people to kind of wrap what's going on at the end of this movie. Because I still don't think it does a good enough job of kind of letting the audience know about what's going on, even if you caught the kind of the very obvious foreshadowing early on in the film. So that was a little bit silly. And there's also some silly lines here that I thought weren't particularly good. Like, the guy doesn't know what a seance is. I mean, come on, he knows what an electronic voice thing recorder is, EVP, but he doesn't know what a seance is. I thought that was a bit stupid. So there are some kind of like a few little niggles here that I kind of have with the writing. But overall, this is a solid found footage haunted house movie that tries to be a little bit original. I don't think it succeeds in that aspect, and maybe even been better if they have kind of just played it straight as a kind of a more of a straight haunting film without that kind of the twist, which I don't think was handled very well. Anyway, overall though, it's a solid haunted house with some good scares, a ratcheting tension that kind of increases as the film progresses, and some very, very disturbing and creepy moments throughout the film. 7 out of 10. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me comments, and I shall look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.